I'm Susan Roberti, and welcome to Let's Talk Tail Waggers. Happy New Year. This is my first show in the new year. I guess, and I pray, and I hope all the ones to come will be fun. This one's going to be fun today. We have a very dear, sweet, kind lady that loves her dogs, and I'm sure we're going to find out a lot of wonderful things. But before I get started, I would like to say thank you to my cameraman. Thank you. You know, BPTV is all volunteers, and you are more than welcome to come up and do a show, learn how to do cameras, or just come up and visit. I keep hoping somebody will come up that has an antique car and wants to do some shows about antique cars. But anything that is your passion, it's very easy to do, and once you start doing them, you get kind of hooked. So now I am going to introduce my lady, and your name is?
Hi, my name's Lisa Rulong.
And what do you do?
Well, I am what I would term semi-retired. I spent over 30 years in the business world and the legal world as a corporate and then litigation paralegal.
Wow.
The last 3 years I was practicing, I also did immigration work, worked both employee and family-based immigration.
Wow.
Then, and about 4 years ago, my husband became very ill and is now disabled. He's doing much better, but when he got to the point where he needed more care, I retired from the corporate and legal world and decided to pursue my passion of working with animals. We have been pet owners, both my husband and I, our entire lives, and I've done a lot of work with various rescues as a volunteer. I'm what you would call a many times failed foster mom, where the animals would come for fostering and then they would just end up staying. And I at one time, I don't like to put out numbers, but I think at one time we had over 20 cats at our house.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, that's what, it breaks your heart. You can't leave them go.
Well, and that's it. And a lot of the ones, and this is my dog Beaver, who is probably going to explore a little bit. Beaver, come.
Beaver.
He has selective hearing impairment. He is deaf when he chooses to be. And then this little guy right here is Decatur.
He's a crybaby.
He's a crybaby. He's a typical beagle. He's actually a long-term boarder of ours. What I was starting to say, my journey here was that I was an animal advocate and volunteer for many, many years. And then once I retired from the legal world, decided to get into animal care. So became self-employed. I do a full range of pet care. I go into people's homes, provide companionship care, medication administration.
Wow.
We do boarding at our homes, excuse me.
Now, what do you mean when you go into their homes and give them medication? Is it because the owners aren't able?
Right, if the owners are at work. The owners are at work, or maybe they're traveling, or they have just some type of situation where they need some help. And we have a fair number of what I would term special needs clients. I have a number of dogs who are diabetic. I've got an epileptic Great Dane I help care for.
Wow.
I've got a couple of clients with congestive heart failure who require daily medication, and the parents are at work or when they're traveling, so I go in and administer the medication. And then we provide companionship care, waste cleanup and removal, and just are there to provide as much love as we can.
Wow, that keeps you busy.
It does, yeah. When we first started, hey, DK, when we first
bet you when you first got started, you had one dog, and before you knew it, it traveled like the wind.
Very quickly. I just did this for fun, and I had always had caregivers come into my home because I always had multiple dogs. At one time we had over 4, sometimes 5 dogs at a time. So I paid people to come in and walk my dogs and take care of them while my husband and I were at work because we worked long hours. We're gone a lot of the time. And I remember thinking, boy, I would love to have that job. I would love to just hang out with dogs all day and cats. And now that's what I do. Yeah. So I put a profile up on care.com, got our first client in 1 week, and now we have over 50.
I was going to say.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and it's a variation as far as the need. I mean, I have some clients that I see 5 days a week. I have some that I might work with once a year. So it really depends on where they are and what their needs are. But this little guy, the one that you're hearing whining in the background, his name is Decatur, and he came to us in August, and he came by his name in a kind of interesting fashion. His parents were on their honeymoon in New Orleans, and they were walking down Decatur Street, and there was a man with a box of puppies. And that's how they got him. That was about 5 years ago. But his parents are in the process of moving and settling in the United Arab Emirates. So they're living in Dubai right now.
Wow.
And Decatur came to stay with us in August and has been with us since then. We've been working with the transport company to get him ready to go to Dubai in a few weeks. And it's going to be very hard to say goodbye to him. He's become like one of ours, but he is a typical beagle, very, very mischievous, inquisitive, is a runner.
That I think is what people need to hear about them.
Yeah.
Because there is nothing in this world sweeter than a Cocker Spaniel, a Beagle, or a Basset Hound puppy.
Yes.
Just precious moments and precious and
Yeah.
precious. But the Bassets are as stubborn as when they were bred.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know if it got bred into them or what, but I mean they're loving and caring.
Absolutely.
But that's one of their quirks.
Yeah.
And the Beagles have been. Oh, look how it's going to talk to you.
It's all right, baby.
The Beagles were bred for their nose.
Absolutely. And that's what he's trying to do right now is follow his nose.
When someone goes and gets a little puppy, a Beagle puppy, they have to understand that this little guy or little girl is a nose.
That's right. And that's what rules him. It absolutely rules him. And I had limited exposure to beagles before Decatur came to stay with us. And it's been a real education. It's been a lot of fun. We've just come to love him.
They're endearing and
Absolutely.
kind.
But high maintenance, you know, initially until they get to know you and you get to know them. So I would encourage any first-time beagle owner to really do some research.
Yes.
And make sure that you have an infinite amount of patience.
And that you like to walk.
Yes.
Because they do.
They
you
love
know.
to walk. They love to get new scents and explore.
And that's what their beagles are all about. Every dog, except for the mixed breeds, and they're the most precious of God's angels. But that's what they were bred for.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, they're a
Their
working
nose.
dog. Yeah, they're working dogs. They absolutely are.
And it's so hard to make someone see
Understand that. We have a couple cats also, and he has been totally just bewildered by the cats.
They do,
And so frustrated at times because our cats are very dog savvy, and they bait them. They bait
Dog
the dogs.
savvy.
Oh yeah, and the cats are pretty funny. I'm sure there's a lot of feline trash talking going on because Moose is one of our big orange cat who we found. He was abandoned in our church parking lot last year. He must weigh 20 pounds, and he's huge.
my.
But he will just bait him. He'll get up on top of a very high dresser and just look at him, and I know he's saying things, and then he loses his mind. Yeah, yeah. It's somewhat entertaining to watch, you know.
My
but
brother had a yard like this, and the people down below, and they had a beagle, and they had him on a nice run. You know,
Okay,
it was a very
sure.
nice yard.
Yeah.
And Bruno, he had this great big gray cat, striped, and Bruno would come up the hill and just
close
and
enough.
He knew exactly where that dog's chain ended.
And he would probably stop a foot away, and you know they're just talking to each other. He's saying,
people don't understand. That's how they are. That smart.
and that's what they do. That's what
And
they
they
do.
do it over. You know, and it just becomes a
They
game.
never learn. They never. Yeah.
And it's not to be mean.
No.
It's just something that they do.
This
for
is what we
fun.
do.
Yeah.
This
yeah.
is what we do. So we have a lot of fun between the dogs and the cats, and since we started working with dogs in our home boarding, we do what we term family style boarding, where we only take one family of dogs at a time.
Aw.
So you know, if our client has multiple dogs, we'll take them so that they can stay together. But what we emphasize is that when they are with us, they become part of our family.
Sure.
If they want to sleep on the bed, they sleep on the bed. You know, and they do. But we've had everything from miniature poodles to Great Danes.
Wow.
And it's a tremendous, it's kind of, I liken it to what I would imagine having grandchildren is like. I don't have any yet.
Yeah, they
haven't
come
been
and
blessed
go.
yet. But they come, you have a lot of fun with them, and then at the end of the day you say, here you go. You can go back home now.
Yeah. But if they come back, their little tails are wagging.
Absolutely.
And they're happy to be back. And that's what is so very important.
And it's gratifying too.
It is.
Yeah,
That
they are. We have a lot of what we term, I call frequent flyers. You know,
Yeah.
repeat customers, or I don't even like to use that term, but you know, dog friends who will come and stay with us sometimes every month. We've had one dog who has been with us, at least 24 times over the last 2 years. In fact, she's at home right now with my husband doing daycare. Yeah, so
Wow.
yeah, so we have a lot of extended
Now,
canine
do
family.
you get up in the morning and out you go?
Yeah, it really depends on the day. A typical day for me, I'll have anywhere from 4 to maybe 8 client visits where I'll do in-home care. Like today, after I've already done one visit today, where I went and I picked up this a beautiful Rhodesian Ridgeback, a beautiful dog, and she comes to our home for daycare sometimes. Sometimes I go to her home, and then she boards with us quite frequently.
Yeah.
I also
Loyal.
take her for her medication treatments because she is undergoing chemotherapy right now for lymphoma. Yeah, so she goes out to PVSCC for chemo.
Yeah.
So I help occasionally assist with that. But this morning I did that at 7 o'clock. I went and picked her up, brought her back to our house. And then after I leave here today, I have 4 visits that I'll be doing. I have a baby dachshund that I'm taking care of who is named Khaleesi, weighs all of 1.5 pounds.
Oh, my God.
And then I have a little diabetic toy poodle that I'll be visiting today. I have a 12-year-old German Shepherd who has congestive heart failure. So I'll be seeing her at 2. And then I have a cat client that I'll be taking care of also. And that'll be...
But doesn't it...
it's very
if
rewarding.
you're a loving and giving person, to give like that, it fills your need.
I get
you know?
much more back
Yeah.
than what I give.
True.
It really, and it's been wonderful for my whole family. You know, my husband too. With his illness, you know, he had been with the state for over 25 years and had to retire very early from that. But he's terrific with dogs and cats. And so he does a lot of the daycare work at home. While I'm out doing visits, he's at home. Because one thing that we insist on, if we have a daycare puppy or daycare dog or a boarder, one of us is always there with them. We would never leave them alone.
Yeah.
And so he tends to stay at home with the daycare and the boarders, and then I go travel around and do our daily clients. And we keep it within about a 10-mile radius to make it make sense. You know, for me
well,
to...
Sure, I don't blame you.
It has to make sense.
And especially when the weather is bad,
Yes.
you know, you don't want to be sliding 20 miles.
Especially if I have to get someplace. You know, cats are one thing, unless there's a medication issue.
Yeah.
You know, they're not on the same sense of urgency relative to a bathroom need that a dog is.
Don't bother me. Right.
Yes, right. And they have their means to do what they need to do. Whereas a dog, if you get there late, you're
going to hear about
You're going to hear about it, and you're going to be cleaning things up. Yeah. Yeah, but no, it's been really rewarding and been terrific for both my husband and I.
Well, I would imagine that would be rewarding. That would be the word. Because it just, when you go there and you leave and you have a wonderful sense and a feeling of giving and helping that little guy and get in the car and say, now, he's taken care of, handled, and go to the next person.
Next one.
And that would be a wonderful thing to retire from what you did.
Oh my goodness. What a difference. I mean, what a difference, because I was in a very... it was a very interesting and stimulating, but a very high-stress environment for over 30 years. And I don't know if you know much about civil litigation, but it's when my kids were young, I always tell this story. They asked me, Mom, what do you do? You know, what do you do for a living? And I said, well, I fight, because that's what you do. In litigation, you fight.
Right.
And
Exactly.
it was every day was arguing, you know, either with the opposing side or with the insurance company or with the client or with your colleagues, the attorneys, whatever. but everything was approached by argument, and that was what you're trained to do. So to get away from that and just work with these guys is marvelous. It's
Yeah, and there's nothing in the whole wide world. I'm just because that's the way I am.
Sure.
But dogs and kitties and birds are wonderful.
Yes.
But I don't. We have had a dear friend, the Birdman.
I was looking up some of your shows on YouTube last night, and I saw a snippet of that.
Yeah,
there were birds all over the.
Yeah, and he passed away,
Okay.
John.
I'm sorry.
And but when I got to meet him, and he did shows for years here, and he has a man that's taken over now, and he'll be coming. But John, that was his shows were to inform people: do not do this.
Okay.
Do not get one of these birds.
Okay.
They're big and they're beautiful and wow.
Right.
But he showed pictures of these birds that were kept. One was kept in a cage for 12 years in the garage underneath the desk. A big, beautiful, big parrot.
Yeah.
And it was bald. And the people called, and he would go all over the United States and rescue these birds.
Yeah.
And it took him 2 years even to get near him. But then that became his bird.
Yeah.
You know, his signature bird.
Yeah.
And he got all his feathers and everything in. And he wanted to tell people that they're beautiful and they're wonderful, and they may talk or they may not talk, but basically they belong where they belong, and that's to be free.
Yeah.
And but he would take them because you take care of them.
Okay.
You know, that's the reason that he would get them. He was at a show, he did like at expos, he would go and do shows. And somebody just walked up and put the cage down and walked away.
Oh,
and there was
my.
this dearest little peach parrot in there.
Yeah.
And he said, don't you want this bird? No. And they just, you know, and he said they had to pay hundreds of dollars for this bird. But people get bored. They live forever.
Well, and there's so much I don't understand about people, you know, and it's the same with dogs and cats. You know, they get them as a kitten or a puppy because they're adorable.
They're so cute.
They're so cute. Well, yeah, you get a lab puppy and it weighs 10 pounds, and before you turn around it weighs 40, and then it's 60, and then it's 80. And then it's not so cute anymore if you haven't spent the time to train it, to
and
socialize
that's
it.
all in every show that I've been doing for 20 years is time, love, and patience.
Patience, absolutely.
And that's all.
And then the appropriate environment too.
Oh, exactly.
You know, I mean, if you live in a small townhouse or an apartment or whatever, you don't get a Great Dane.
There you
know,
go.
you don't do that. You know, you go for a lap dog, or, you know, even a beagle who, I mean, this guy weighs probably about 40, 45 pounds. He's put on a few pounds the last few weeks because it's been a lot of treats over the holidays and not as much walking. But even with him, he needs room. You know, he's got to have time and space to be a dog. Exactly. You know, and dogs want to do what they want to do, which is run and play and get muddy and dig holes. And this is what they want to do.
With age, you know, like they start to settle down when they're like 5. And then when they hit 7, that's like middle age.
Right.
You know, and then after that, that's when they settle down real and get really mellowed out,
and calm.
You know, and then you don't want them anymore because they sleep all the time. Aren't you ever going to get up and come? You know, but that's what.
Well, like Beaver right over here. Now see how calm he is now. He's 12, and he's the only dog I've ever adopted as a puppy. Because we've had numerous dogs over the year. We always do rescues. And we tend to adopt older dogs that maybe have some other physical issues or whatever. But I just fell in love with Beaver when I was volunteering at Angel Ridge Rescue down in Washington County. It's near the Meadowlands. And he was 4 months old, and he had been the runt of a litter. And all of his other litter mates had been adopted except for Beaver because he had a lot of eating issues.
Yeah.
His litter mates would never let him eat. They'd never let him eat. He was full of parasites and just so sensitive. And as you can see, I mean, even now, he has tremendous separation anxiety from me. So I adopted him at 4 months, and he's been my constant companion and best friend for over 12 years.
Well, you know, I don't know if people really ever understand how wonderful and good and kind people like you are.
Oh.
Really and truly. I mean this from the bottom of my
Yeah.
heart. To take these little guys in and try to find them homes or take care of them or get in the car and drive to someone's home so that they can go on a vacation and relax.
And have peace of mind.
Yeah.
And that was one of the reasons we started this venture too, was because all the years that we had multiple dogs, we were constrained to travel. We never go anywhere without our dogs.
That's right.
The only time I have flown in the last probably 15 years, if it hasn't been for business, has been out of a dire need to see a family member or something like that. Because whenever we vacation, we take and
The kids with you.
We take the kids. We've had a series of minivans. We had a Suburban for a while, and that we have a Town and Country now, which I love that car. But I think only one time, it has the stowaway seats, only one time have I had the seats up.
Wow.
Because we have the driver's seat and the passenger seat, and we bought it and put all the seats down. I've got beds back there because I do a lot of transport, and it's just more comfortable for the dogs.
And people at home, please realize that there are wonderful and good and kind people that take care of your dog or kitty cat or a bird when you go on vacation. But make sure you check them out and can talk to people that you've worked for.
Absolutely.
You know, so that they can.
Yeah, and Care.com is a terrific vehicle too. That's where I started my adventure.
The people.
Yeah, and we have. I have a background check up there. You know, you can run a background check.
Okay.
I have all my clearances, my FBI clearances, my Act 31, Act 33, and then clients of mine can post reviews. So you can go on Care.com. I'm just listed under Lisa R. And you'll see my profile, you'll see reviews from former clients, people that I have contacts with. So that is a good screening tool. But yeah, I would definitely encourage anybody to really get to know whoever you're going to trust your pet's care
Yeah,
to.
because you don't want them to just go, and skip a day, you know, kind
Oh my
of thing.
goodness. And again, you've got to remember, you're letting these people into your home
Yeah.
when you're not there. What are
Well,
you seeing? What are you
That's I never even thought of that.
Yep.
Years ago,
Okay.
when I had my business, I would go, and there was only certain ladies that I would go to their homes in the summer and stay at their house.
Sure.
You know, watch their dogs. I could go down to work, and I'd always say to them, "I promise I won't go through your drawers or pee on your rug."
Can't count for the dog. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or can't promise that for the dog. Yeah.
And I had them from the time they were babies until they passed away.
Yeah.
You know, that I'd go in the summer.
Well, that's how I feel about our
And that
clients'
was my
dogs.
free vacation.
Yeah.
Because, you know,
Yeah.
sometimes they'd have a swimming pool or something. You know.
I do that occasionally where I'll stay at other folks' homes, but I tend to only do that in a situation where it's the best thing for the dog. You know, if they have a really serious medical condition
Right.
and they couldn't come to our house, and mainly because it's too hard on my dogs when I'm not home.
Yeah.
You know, they miss me.
miss you.
Oh, sure. Yeah, just like we're going to miss this little guy.
Oh, he has a lot to say.
Oh, he does
He's
have a lot to
bored.
say. He is bored.
Yeah.
He's there. I want to smell stuff. I want to go
Yeah.
outside and chase things. And then, as you can see, Beaver's just
Yeah.
he's chilling out because he's
Well,
he's
he's turned out to be a lot nicer than we thought. We were talking about, well, if he gets too noisy,
we
can
might
take
have to
back
put
out
him
to the car.
outside. Yeah,
But he's being a good guy.
he's just a beagle. Say, I'm just a beagle.
Well,
This
I
is what
want
we
to say
do.
thank you with all
Thank
my
you.
heart.
Thank you for inviting me. It's
Oh.
been a pleasure to be here, and I've enjoyed watching your shows on YouTube.
Oh,
I was watching
thank
it
you.
with my kids I have two boys who are both grown
Yeah.
now, but they just recently came back home. They were both living out of the country, and they're
Oh.
home for a short period of time, so it was fun.
Travelers.
And living and working abroad. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, my youngest son lived in China and taught over there for a few years at a university,
Wow.
and then our oldest son just moved back to the States with his wife from France because they had. She's from France.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Were they going to stick around for a little
for a while, I hope. It's nice having everybody back in North
back
America.
home again.
Yeah.
You're a good guy.
He just wants
But
to.
truly, from the bottom of my heart.
Sure.
And if anybody out there sees this, please know that you'll have a really wonderful lady from the bottom of my heart come and either give your dog a shot, feed them because you're going to be late from work or whatever.
Or just take
we're-
them for a walk.
Yeah, we're choking. That's the pretend choke, I call
Yeah,
that.
that's the pretend joke. It's for attention.
They're just so good at it. They're no actors.
Oh,
They
yeah.
are, truly.
Come here,
And
DK.
it's time to say goodbye.
Goodbye. Well, thank you again for having us.
Oh, thank you for coming.
Sure.
And I want to wish everyone a Happy New Year. I really and truly am excited that I'm back again here doing shows again. I'm really excited. I have a group of shows that I'm going to be doing for the South Park Rescue.
Oh, great. South Hills?
South Hills, that's
Yes.
it. South Hills Rescue. And they'll be coming on the 15th. And then I hope we can visit them. And
They do tremendous work.
Yeah, that's what you told me, and
Yeah.
that's why I gave them a call.
Yeah, they save so many dogs, hundreds of dogs in the course of a year.
Yeah,
And it's all volunteer and
yeah. Well, that's why I thought
Yeah.
I'd get involved with them.
Yeah.
And the Washington Area Humane Society is still going strong with their dogs. And don't forget Pets for U.S. Vets. If you have a couple dollars to send to the Washington Area Humane Society. I have a bad throat today. On the bottom of the check, please put for Pets for U.S. Vets. And if you have any sheets, towels, blankets, anything that you can't give to the homeless but use common sense, please send it to the Washington Area Humane Society. Or go down and walk a dog. So, like always, I love you guys. I'm so glad that I'm back. And most of all, thanks from all the tail waggers.